Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thank you for joining to a very special, out of the ordinary episode of Discover Neo4j AuraDB Free with Michael and Alexander. Hi, Michael. How's it going?
Hi, Alex. Good to see you again. It's been some time since we were on
It's been some
stream.
time
Yeah, and
indeed.
welcome everyone
Yeah,
from around the world. I hope you have a lot of fun watching this and reminisce about the times when we used to run this weekly. But good to see you
yeah.
all. And
Good to see.
we have exciting things coming up, right? So that's why we do this special episode as well.
Exactly. So there's a thing happening in well, what is it? A couple of days now. It's next Thursday, so
Yeah,
26th of
it's
October.
8 days or
So
something
it's
like that, right? Yeah.
a little more, I think. Yes, but yeah, basically, it's notes, everybody. So here it goes.
Yeah,
I
notes
put this
time.
up right there, and we thought, okay, what can we do? We haven't done the Discover AuraDB sessions for a while, but we used to do them, like Michael said, we used to do them weekly. We discovered a data set, and we thought about what can we ask the database, what would a data model look like, what would we go about in terms of the initial queries, some data loading 101 basically, and some exploring pathways of getting the data ready and finding some insights and benefiting from the quick way of jumpstarting a Neo4j project. And that was what we did, and we did that for with the agenda import for Notes 2022, and we thought, okay, we haven't done this for a while, but the agenda is coming up, Notes is coming up, and the agenda is pretty cool. We have lots of things to do, lots of things to watch, a full day again of content of various topics
24 hours.
from
Are you ready?
exactly 24 hours. Are you ready? I mean, that's basically up
Ready
to
for
the
24
challenge.
hours of content.
Exactly. Can you beat Michael to watch more episodes or more talks during 24 hours than he can, and then you win a prize. Uh, but
Exactly.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, conference schedules have been something we've been doing for quite some time, right? So oftentimes when we go to a conference and if the conference schedule is publicly available through an API or as a CSV or something, we oftentimes ask the organizers. And I think conference schedules are a really nice way of exploring a graph, right? So because you have talks, you have the
Absolutely.
speakers, you have the
Yeah.
topics, you have the rooms, you can extract entities. Um, so you can also see which kind of talks that I'm interested in, what else is similar to these talks, or what could I do as a quick recommendation query, or it makes it, especially for conference attendees, really kind of easy to relate to and really easy because they are at the conference, right? So they're really doing something there. And so, oh, I've been to this session and I saw the speaker, and then it's something
Yeah.
really, becomes personal. And that's why I really like conference graphs as well, right? So, and it has a long tradition with Neo4j. And so it's only fitting that we do another one for Notes 2023 as well.
Totally. And it's always a great way of finding out. Sometimes you just don't realize that something else could be very interesting to you. So you have watched a talk, you've watched a session, you found this was very interesting, and then all of a sudden, through the power of the graph, you find other sessions that not necessarily have the same topic or have the same name, but by proximity, they are so well versed to be your next session to watch, and then you find those and you can go and have a listen. So that's what we're gonna do today. So if you haven't watched any of our previous episodes, and if you wondering, okay, what is this all about? I summarized it here a little bit for people who have been watching in the past, and there's a full list of previous episodes. I put that link in the YouTube video description. I'll put it in chat as well. Probably a good idea. So you can explore. I don't know how many episodes we did. I didn't count, but a couple of dozen
Yeah.
on all kinds of topics. So if anything you want to try and see how it works, go there. Go to the repository list. But yeah, so what we basically do is we pick a data set, we we think about the questions the dataset would offer us to dive into, to answer through the data we got from there, run some queries, think about some queries up front, then determine the data model that would then benefit set insights or set queries and set this up. And then we would import the data set, load the data set into Neo4j, and run some initial queries to either manipulate the data a little bit or to directly get some questions answered. And what is AuraDB free? It's the free version of Neo4j AuraDB. AuraDB is a database as a service offering we have running for quite a while now, which you basically, without much ado, you can go on the website, which I'll also post in the chat here, and spin up a free instance in the cloud for you with Neo4j. It's limited a little bit versus a standard AuraDB offering where you have 200,000 nodes and 400,000 relationships. You can work with that. But it includes everything else. So you get Neo4j Bloom, you get Neo4j Browser, you get the data importer, the workspace experience where everything is in one tab, so you don't have to move around a lot. It stays with you forever as long as you use it. That's all you need to know. So if you haven't gotten an instance, you just can click on the link and set one up for you and play with some predefined data sets. We have now a couple of demo sets available. You just can click and load directly, or you bring your own data set, or you follow one of these many data sets which we tried over the past, or you do what we do today, and you look at the nodes agenda, which is going to be our topic for today. So I'll
exactly. So you can follow along.
move over.
Exactly. That's what Alex shared. Is basically the page where we have like all the video recordings and also the GitHub repository linked from all our past sessions, and you can see it's actually a lot, right? So
it's a lot. Yes.
it started with Lou and Alex, and then we took over, and then we have run a lot of these, right? And so it was always a lot of fun picking new data sets and exploring them interactively without a lot of preparation. Basically, like you would approach a new data set, right? So and so from that perspective, that's the landing page that Alex also, I think, shared in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have notes coming, as Alex already said. If you have not registered yet, please do so ASAP, because there's a lot of good stuff coming, and we're sending out a little bit more of information and updates as we go. So if you want to be in the know about where to join, when to join, and so on, it's better if you sign up today so you get these emails as well. We have a lot of good content there. Amazing keynote. Really looking forward to Dr. Anna Fry. She's amazing. I'm a big fan. So really great.
Yeah, and that was just
we already
one of
ran
the recent additions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The keynote we just added that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she will talk about the joy of data. So it will be really amazing. And we've already run the workshop series, so you can still watch the recordings of those. But what we want to look at today is actually the agenda. So if you scroll down here to the page, you'll see actually like all the talks and all the tracks and all the time zones. Everything should be in your time zone. And then you can basically pick the tracks and then say, I want to look at ML talks, for instance, or I want to look at visualization talks. And then if you registered, you can actually already select talks and favorite them and basically plan ahead. So we have almost 100 talks, or we have 100 talks actually. So it was a lot of fun putting them together. We had really great submissions, and I had a really hard time picking basically in the end and setting up like all the agenda, but it's amazing in terms of like content. I definitely recommend to you checking them out. And that's what we want to import today into the graph, right? So let's see how we're going to do this. So we start out by going to Aura. So I already logged in. And then if you're in Aura, you would say, I create a new free instance. And so you basically just click on this button here. And then it basically starts creating an instance. You can basically click download and continue. Then it will download the credentials for you. and you get a file where you have the connection URL, username, and the password as well. So you can do this, and then it basically starts up, it downloads this, and then it starts up this new instance, which you can also rename and say, for instance, this is, I don't know, nodes or something like that. And then it takes a few minutes, 1 or 2 to start up. So I've already done this, so you don't need to wait and watch me waiting for this. So I have my nodes instance here running. And then if you click on this open button, then you will go to the workspace, right? And in workspace, you log in with your username and password. And so this is for the new instance. But you basically just paste in your password here, and then you're ready to connect. And I've done this here as well. And in workspace, you
And the
have multiple
password is
options.
in that file you downloaded.
Exactly. So if you download the
created.
file, I can exactly. If you see the file here, no, that's the wrong file.
Yeah.
Where's my other file?
But it looks something
16.
like this. You get the
October 16.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. This one is actually the right file. So you have basically the password in here. It says which day it was created on, and I'll drop this instance afterwards as well, right? So, and you log in, and you have 3 options usually: import, explore, and query. And what I thought we can do actually is, let me clear this out here. What I thought we can do is talk a little bit and think about the modeling, right? So how would this? Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
How would this look like as a graph model, right? So if we were to add, here you are. If we were to add the parts of our graph model, so if you talk about a conference, right? What do we have at a conference? We have a session or a talk. Let's call this session. So I can just say this is a session. And then, of course, each session has 1 or more speakers, right? And then we could call this one speaker, this node. And then we would say the speaker has a relationship to the session. For instance, they presents or something like that, the session, right? So, and then what else do we have in this case, right? So usually the session has also some kind of keyword or topic, or a set of keywords or topics, right? So that's usually something that you have, or tags, depending on the conference. Oftentimes, of course, the session also has a track or something similar, right? Because we have an online conference, we don't have rooms. For in-person conference, you would also have a room as well, right?
Yeah,
but we only have
something.
so we don't have, yeah. And then the other things are also areas you could have something like a level, also like experience level, also that you would expect for the session, for instance, right? And there are lots of other things that you could also attach to a session, right? As well. So, for instance, the other thing could be also something like a type. But something like a type you can also as a property where you say, okay, on this session I have something like my title. For the session, I have something like an abstract. And then I have, for instance, something like an format, also, which could be like a talk or full session or something like that, right? And then the speaker would have something like an first name, last name, and then probably something like, I don't know, website or URL.
Title, website, exactly, yeah.
What's like that, right? And you would basically add topic as a name, right? And track has also a name. And then there might be other things like time zone. So, for instance, I think in our case, we also pulled our time zone for the speaker so that we can actually put speakers in the right time zone. You don't want to have someone having to give a talk in the middle of the night, like it happened to me 2 weeks ago when I had a German conference, but was in the US, unfortunately. I was fortunately, but the original planning was that I give a talk in Germany in the morning, and it was like 1 a.m. in Pacific time. So I had to go up pretty early, and we don't do this. It went well. So it was also hotel Wi-Fi, so it was all a little bit flaky, but it went well
I
enough.
see. Okay.
But we don't want to do this to our speakers, so that's why we also had the time zone, and we looked at this also when we put together the sessions as well, right? So these would be this could be like a simple graph model for a conference, right? And then if you want to do this for multiple conferences, you would also say I can actually connect the session also to a conference. And then I could, for instance, do a full conference series, right? So if you have something like DevOps, which this year had its 20th anniversary, I think, or something else like Graph Connect or Connection Notes. I mean, Notes has its 5th installation this year as well, right? 29 or no 4th, 5th. We started in 2019, I think, with Node.
I think
the
it's the
4th
5th
one.
It's
the 5th. So you could basically also connect it to the conference if you want to have multiple conferences, right? And then look at repeat speakers or past speaker performances and so on, right? And if you continue this, actually, you can actually go further and say, if you have live data, then you can also actually add the attendees to the sessions, and then basically say the attendee watch the session or something like that, and then could add something like a rating here on the relationship, right? So you could have something like a rating as a floating point. So for all the sessions that an attendee watched, they can rate it, and then you can basically compute a general rating for the session from all the attendees. But you could also say, hey, for recommendations, kind of if the attendee rated this session highly, which other sessions would they be interested in, for instance, right? And then you can continue and say, hey, I also want to add the YouTube URL for the session, so I can continue to use this graph in
for later on.
Even after the conference is over, right? So and then you continue to track views and recommendations and things like that, right? So that's what a graph model could look like. And imagine we got the CSV data from the conference, then we could just drop this CSV data in here in Data Importer, which we don't have today. But we could basically just browse and map this CSV data to the sessions, to the speakers, and so on, right? So that's also an option. Actually, I should have done this before, so I didn't export the data as CSV, but I could have done it from Sessionize as an export. Perhaps it's probably too much for now, but you can imagine what it looks like, right?
So exactly, we did this a couple of times in the past, and it's very, very easy and very user friendly. You have your files, can do multiple files on your left hand side there where it says files, and then you associate them with the corresponding nodes and relationships, and then you get a little check mark when you did so that you know that everything has been connected with each other, and then you're ready to say, okay, I have everything I wanted to have in my graph, and then you click on import, and then it's loading the data. So it's very, for instance, well guided.
Exactly. So for instance, here I have a file from last year, just to show you what it looks like. So you would have like the CSV here, and then you would basically say, okay, I want to map the session to this file, and then let me just really quickly delete these properties here. We can just remove them now. And I would say map from file, and then I would say session ID, name, description, perhaps what else do we have here? I think scheduled at and so on, right? So and then we can basically, this is our session information, and then we can basically say, okay, now I also want to map the speaker from the same file, and I say here map from file, and I would say owner, then or here like something like owner and websites and stuff like that. So I can basically just put this here. So I have this information here, and then I can extract something like the level is also here in the session. Somewhere at that level here, and then it actually also you can just give this a relationship type level, and then it maps automatically between the session and the level, and the same we can do for track and so on, right? So it's pretty straightforward to map this, and then you basically just run your import, right? So we would
Exactly.
have here somewhere segment. I actually don't remember which. Here, no, session format. Somewhere had stage or something like that, right?
I think this was just meant for
right, and but you can see it's basically just pretty straightforward to map these kind of things, right? And then you run preview and then import, and then you get the information to your graph. Right? So that's how you can map it from a CSV. Today, actually, what we have as well is actually an API, right? So oftentimes, data that you want to get is available in an API, and this is an API for Sessionize, basically for all the sessions, and all the sessions are here in a JSON object, and you basically have every session has a title, a description, start date, an ID, speakers, categories, levels, topics, use cases, rooms is our track basically, right? And status and so on, right? So, and that's available for each of the sessions, and these are like 100 sessions. So if I search for title here, it should have like 100 titles, right? 101 titles. So that's our raw data, and you can easily imagine that we map like the session ID to the ID of the node, title to the title of the session node, and so on. And so what I did here is basically I have this. It looks a little bit scary, but it's actually not hard, right? So we have this API call that we just saw with the JSON API, right? Actually,
maybe we need to zoom in a little bit, Michael.
Yeah, I can make this bigger. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so if I just load this data and just return value here, we should see exactly the same as we saw from the API, right? You can see this here. And now we want to take this and turn it into our graph data, right? So if I go back here, it starts with taking all the sessions, turning the list into rows, and then for each row we basically create a session, set the description and the title. Then we take the speakers, create a node here for each speaker, set the speaker name. So the speaker has an ID, we set a speaker name, and then we say speaker presents session. So exactly what we had in our model. And then it goes over some of the other things like prerequisites, time zones, session format, level, topic of your presentation, which are the tags basically, and use cases and so on, and then adds them to the graph as well. So for each of them, it basically creates a node, like here's the time zone node, and then connects the session to the time zone. Some of the attributes it sets as attributes on the like prerequisites, setup, and graph your story as attributes. But then things like session format, it kind of creates a node for format here and connects it to the session. For level, it also creates a separate node and connects the session to level. For topic, it does the same, which is our tag or topic or keyword. For use case, it's just the same, and then also for track, it also connects the session to the track, and then we add the starts at, ends at, and the URLs to these as well. Right? So it basically just goes step by step over the data, and then either creates a node or sets attributes or connects the node to the session as such. Right? So it looks a little bit scary, but if you, for instance, stop here after this, then it's really easy. Just create a session, set the attributes, create the speakers, create a speaker node, set a name, and then connect the speaker to the session, and then it just goes along and does the same thing for the other attributes as well. Actually, we could try to just run this first part, and because I didn't in transactions of 20 rows, so actually we don't need this necessarily. So it creates 280 nodes, creates 127 relationships here, and sets a bunch of properties and adds labels. So we, if you look at our data here, we now have sessions and speakers, exactly what we just created. And I can click on this presents relationship here, and we see our little graph of sessions and speakers as such,
Yeah.
right? And then basically see
So
some of the
each
sessions
session
of 2
has one
speakers.
or more. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Or some speakers have multiple sessions
Oh, 3.
that are like
Yeah, greener
Sudhir
sessions, of course.
doing
Yeah.
the roadmap
Yeah.
and the keynote, because we repeat the keynote for each of the time zones. And I think the welcome session with me, like the 5-minute, 5-minute
Yeah.
showing up for 5 minutes, saying hello to everyone.
Yeah.
It's also 3, right? So, but otherwise, in most cases, the sessions have either 1 or 2, or sometimes 3 speakers, depending on the setup, right? So that's the
Yeah.
first part. But then, if you add the rest here to our statement, we also add the other bits and pieces that I just talked about. And if I run this, then it should add a few more types of nodes. So you see it added 57 more nodes to our graph. And now we see here at the side, we have format nodes. So we have workshops, full sessions, and lightning talks as formats. We have the levels, which is advanced, intermediate, and introductory as such. And then we have things like the tracks, for instance, which are the 3 tracks: visualizations, building applications, and ML and AI with graphs.
Mhm.
Right? And then a lot of topics, because there are a lot of different topics that people talk about. And if we zoom in here a little bit, you see responsible AI, best practices, visualization, machine learning, cloud, database, NLP, Java, Python, ORDS, security, and so on. Actually, there might be even more if you remove the limit here. Then we have a few more sessions or topics as well, right?
Yeah.
And if it all goes together, then we can basically just say, let me just do this here. If you just get a bunch of paths here and let's say we return 100, then we see our little conference graph here, right?
Oh,
So
nice.
the green ones are the sessions. These are the use cases, the brown ones. Oh, we actually didn't look at use case, actually. So you also have use cases, which is then more like what kind of industry, so government, life sciences, artificial intelligence, IAM, network infrastructure, and so on, depending on what area people are talking about, right? And so the brown one are the use cases, and the light pink ones are the topics, and then the purple ones are our speakers. And so and then we have also formats and other things as well, right? So that's kind of our conference graph. We can also pull the whole graph. Actually, if I remove the limit altogether, then the new you see that I have the experimental visualization here turned on in query, and so we can even run the whole graph without any performance implications. So it fetches a whole graph, and you see that's a very dense graph
Cool.
here, because many people share, of course, something like formats and rooms and things like that, right? So that's why it's quite dense, right? So because of some of these, where there are only 3 of each that each session is connected to, you have this more dense graph here, right? Cool. So we can already run a bunch of queries on this. Before we do this, I want to do another small addition. So we can also extract additional information for the speakers. That's not in the first API, but there's in speakers API. So we can also extract something like, is the person in Ninja, which city, which country, and which time zone are they from.
Cool.
So if we run this as well, it adds a bunch of more nodes. And now we have something like time zones as well here in our graph. So you see all the GMT minus to plus 12 time zones, and we have also like countries, so we can see which countries are people from as such, and also some cities as well, right? So you can also fetch additional information later on, so you don't need to load everything in one go, but in principle you can fetch information as you go, right? So now when we want to see, for instance, imagine we have a certain topic that we're interested in. Let's see what topics you have. Alex, you can pick a topic. Let's see, what do we have here? Can you read this?
Yeah, let's do NLP. Sounds good.
Okay, let's see. How many? Okay, we have a bunch of them. So for instance, if you, Alex, are interested in the NLP topic, so we can just say name NLP. So it should just return this one. Oops, is it not name? Is it topic? What did we call it? Sorry, I didn't check
Maybe if you click on it, should it show
I
if you
just
click
need to
on it?
fetch them. Yeah, I need to fetch them all first. So topic and its name NLP. Why didn't it find the name NLP? Name NLP.
Do you need a proper Gänsefüßchen? What's the name?
No, double quotes. It's
Double
weird.
quotes, yeah.
Let's see. We can also just say where n.name contains NLP. Return n. Where? Perhaps there's some white space that I didn't properly clean out.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, it has a space before. See.
Okay. Well, that's
a data issue. Okay, see that we need to fix our data loading script. But so, for instance, if you want to see which talks are or which sessions have this topic, right? So I would just say session has a topic and then pointing to this topic, and then we can say, okay, this is our path here, and we return our path. These are like the sessions that have the NLP topic, right? So, but then the question is, what other topics do these sessions have as well, right? So I would could say, okay, this is our, let's call this N1. So it's our first topic, or T1, if you call it topic, right? So T1 is our first topic. And we also want to see kind of our T2, which is the other topic for this session, right? So what are the other topics for this session? So, and we can basically just return these paths as well, and that's basically one. These are the other topics. So you see there's Python, security, AI, LLM, responsible AI, visualization, machine learning, and so on, right? So, okay, we have some sessions around our NLP node, and these sessions around the NLP node have other topics as well, right? Cool. Right? So, but now we could say, okay, and now we want to see which other sessions are connected to these topics, right? So, because perhaps these are sessions that you're also interested in, right? So we could say, okay, to this T2, actually, let me switch this around so it's a little bit easier to read. To this T2, there's another session connected right? So we would say this is our S2 is another session, right? And then we can say, if you return the path again, then it shows me, oops, S, this has this session, this, and this is arrow direction here. So if you return this path again, then we see a number of other green sessions here that we can see, right? And then if you just return the session titles here, put a title, then these are all like the sessions that are connected indirectly to the NLP topic, right? But currently they're not ordered or anything. But I can say, okay, how often did they actually share topics with the NLP sessions, right? So I can basically just count how often did this session pop up in my pattern, right? So was there only one way getting to the session, or was there a second topic or a third topic that also went to the session, right? And then we also sort this whole thing by order, by frequency descending. And then this gives us the, or let's say we just do 10. And then we can basically see, okay, New Caledonia Open Data as a big whole graph has most topics in common with our NLP sessions, right? So, and then graph label has second most topics. So that's something that you would say this is content-based filtering. So basically on shared categories like genres in a movie, for instance, or shared authors or shared actors or something like that could be an content-based filtering. And so imagine we had users and ratings in here, then we could do collaborative filtering, which is then basically based on behavior. So based on preferences or ratings or something like that, right? So, but just to show you that even with this kind of simple graph, you can already do recommendation queries as such, kind of which other sessions are similar to this session, for instance, right? And you could even generalize that and say, hey, I don't care if it's a topic or a speaker or a use case or anything like that. Then you could also generalize this and say just which sessions are connected to which other sessions based on this first session that I'm currently looking at, and just tell me how often did it show up across all the different types of items, and then you basically take it from there. So for instance, if you take this session here, I'm not sure if this is going too far. You have to tell me, Alex, if you're going too far. But so if you just go to this session and say where s dot title equals fine tuning, and right. So this would be like sessions that are similar to this session that we're currently looking at, like the fine tuning session, right? And this gives us like which ones are similar and why. And then if I remove the topic bit here from this, so if I don't say this is a topic, but this is something like an attribute or like some dimension or something like that, you can probably call it dimension or so, right? So then it would actually say either via track or via speaker or via topic or via use case. So I don't really know and care what it is, right? And then I can basically just say, now I have basically overlap of 6 with this one, right? So it's Hong Kong Legal Information Institute is related to fine-tuning open source LLM for text-to-cipher translation, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm interested which nodes or what data is in there, I can still say collect dim.name as mentions or something like that. And I could even see what are the 6. So that's kind of by type, by topics, by use case as well, right? So and then you can basically extract this information as well and see where is the overlap. And so imagine now you have an app where you look at an title talk, and then you want to see what's similar to this talk based on all kinds of dimensions, basically, right? Or you could also say, I want to filter this only. I want to only see topic or I think Neo4j use case. I think it's no, just use case. Sorry. So you could, oops, something happened. Topic or use case. Then it would only do the 2, right? And then I wouldn't see something like track or format or something like that, right? So I can also say, I also want to see the track here, right? So and then you get these as well, right? So and then you have even those. And if you wanted to, you can add more information so that you actually know what type it is, right? As well, you can bring this together.
And that's exactly what I meant in the beginning when I said, well, you pick a talk you're interested in, and how can you find other talks that are related to that, and you have like you just described, with lots of dimensions. You can look the other talks in, and you can slot say, okay, this is an interesting talk to me. I should probably also go watch the graph machine learning for 2024 session.
Exactly. So and if you're not so comfortable writing Cypher, you can do something similar here in the Explore UI, where you could say basically, let me just make sure that we have the right perspective here. And then we should be able to, come on, use this. And then we can basically say session topic, session topic, and then session again. And this gives us basically a graph of sessions. So let's see, can we close the minimap here? Session topic session. Come on. We have all them here, right? Session topic session is here. I'm not sure why it's black right now. It shouldn't be black. It should be colorful. Why is it not colorful? Oh, now it's
Here we
colorful.
come.
Okay. So you see now these this is the whole graph of all the topics in all the sessions, and so you can also do this visually basically, and then you can say, okay, for this session I also want to have the speaker, for instance, right? And then pick this one. So that for the people that are not comfortable writing query code, they can also just run this as such against the database, right? But it shouldn't take so long. It should be much faster. Come on. This should actually be instant. Right, so you see here now also the speakers, and now you can say, I want to see, for instance, I pick these 2 speakers, I dismiss all the other nodes, and then I want to see what is the shortest path between these 2 speakers. And then you basically see these speakers are connected through a joint session format, for instance. Yeah, right? So that's also a way of how to interact and navigate. Or for instance, you can say from this graph, from this node, I want to expand all neighbors, and then basically go from here and then take one step after the other. And you can also filter in time slice and lots of other stuff as well here, as such. That's one thing that I want to show. The other thing that I quickly wanted to show is something that we used a lot in our explorations of datasets, which is Neo4j, which is a dashboarding tool.
Yes.
And I already
Yeah, very
prepared
cool.
something here. So let me just get rid of this one, and let's add a new tab here. So that's the dashboarding tool. So for instance, you could say we want to see what are the different topics and how often have they been shown in our database. So we could, for instance, say, for instance, we start with single value, right? So we just want to have the count of topics. Topic turn count star. And then this gives us 28 topics, right? So let me move this over here and make it perhaps a little bit bigger. So these are 28 topics in total. And now I want to say, okay, but now I actually want to see the topic name and the count, and no longer as a number, but as a bar chart. And every one only shows up once because I didn't write myself correctly, right? So because the topic needs to have a session topic as well, right? So that's the session. So this session has this topic, and then so this should look better now. So we have the different topics with different counts of sessions, right? So some topics have 27, 28 sessions as such.
Yeah.
So you could pick different things here, and I even can order this by count descending, and then I get a nice power law distribution of some kind, right? So that's how you quickly can get things on the map, and then on a chart, and then
So you quickly
that,
see
you can also get
if you have interest in what I see here quickly, knowledge graph, visualization, what's the second, database, I guess, analytics, Cypher, Python, AI.
you can also configure. There's also advanced settings for legend. Somewhere you can set how you want to render the legends, but it's too many options for me. Okay, I guess I had too many options for me, so let me just go back. But you could also say, I want to see this as a pie chart, for instance, right? So the infamous pie chart. So you can also say, okay, I want to see this as a pie chart, and then basically see here what are the different ones, right? So graph data science, Cypher, and so on. So you also see the percentages and or any other kind of visualization. We can also do maps or other things, line charts and so on. Or just a plain table as well, right? So if you just want to do something like this. It also supports filtering for certain things and so on. So there's a lot of possibilities. So that's just what I wanted to show you as well, that you can basically do quickly as if you want to get a dashboard out of your graph data, then that's really quick to do. Let's put this back into a bar chart. right? So if you want to get a dashboard out of your graph data, then it's really easy to do. And actually, let me try if we can get actually a map or speakers. So if you pick, say here, map, I'm not sure if it actually does it, right? So because you have to have the country, c.name. I'm not sure if it actually renders country names correctly on the map. See, I think you need to have geo coordinates actually to do this.
Yeah.
Right. But how much time do we have left? We have 5 minutes left, right? So that should be enough. So what we can probably do here is call epoch spatial geocode once. And here we can pass in a string, which is basically country.name. C.country with C limit 1. I just need to remember what the response type was. I think it was location. See, why not geocode? No, our geocode procedure is gone. It used to be there, but I think I need to talk to our colleagues to put it back. I think there was a security thing. Or because I wrote epoch twice. Geocode once. Again, epoch spatial geocode once. Yeah.
Here we go.
And here now we have location here, right?
Yeah.
And we actually can turn this location thing into a point. So we can just return point of location. And this should give us point object. And then we just set this as a property on our country, set c.location equals this. And it sets one property, and then we remove our limit.
Yeah.
And then let this run. It runs for a few seconds because it has an automatic throttle in there, so that we don't overload the geocoding APIs and are blocked, which we don't want, of course. But then our countries should have geo coordinates, and then in the dashboard, we should actually see them as.
We can populate a map. Yeah.
Let's see how many countries do we actually have. Shouldn't take so much longer. So if you go back to our dashboard, c.name.c.location, and if you run this, so we should at least see the US that we already set. Do we see this here? C.location, where C. It doesn't render them. That is interesting. Advanced settings, role-based styling, background, color, layer types, large marker, map provider URL. This looks actually okay. Did our geocoding takes quite long.
Takes a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't take so long. I think it throttles for like a second or so between each call.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't take that long. No. Okay.
No,
cool.
okay.
As you're speaking, and so it's also demo gods, right? We haven't prepared any of this. Actually,
you need, I just wanted to say, if you just do.
For whatever reason, doesn't render it correctly. So I don't know. It should actually do this automatically because we have location in here, right?
You could do it in Bloom, but then we don't have a map as much.
So all the points are here. Yeah, in Bloom it does a spatial layout. So if you return just clear scene, countries, and we can switch to a coordinate layout and say country. Here. So now it kind of, if you squint a little bit, you could see that it's actually using location.
Yeah, it's obviously extra difficult because it's not every location in the world is in there, so you have to
so we
imagine.
we have to guess what countries are. So I don't know why the map view doesn't work. We need to ask our colleagues from Neo4j what I did wrong here. So it's probably something. It's probably more user error than anything else, right? So I don't blame our colleagues. It's something I did probably do wrong.
Maybe something
but in general, you
needs
can
to be
render stuff
better.
on maps as well, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I think with that, we covered a lot of space. Anything I missed or that we wanted to look into, Alex, from your perspective?
So obviously, I have to ask you this, and it's probably a little bit like picking your favorite child, but what sessions besides the keynote we mentioned are you looking for the most in notes next week?
So as I've been working a lot on the GenAI side the last few months, so these are something I'm really looking forward to see how different people, not just us, but also others, apply LLMs and GenAI to graphs and knowledge graphs. So that's something that I'm really interested in. And then something that I always love to see is data visualization sessions, because I love a good data visualization, right? And as you can tell here, like Book of Trees from Manuel Lima, this one is one of my favorites as well. So data visualization is always really impressive to see what people do and pull off, and how much information they show in their data visualization. So these are my favorite types of talks I'll see. But because during notes I will have 3 screens here with all the streams running in parallel. I can actually see them all for 24 hours, right? So, and then afterwards I need a day off, I guess. But
I would imagine so. Yeah,
it's an awesome lineup. So I can definitely recommend to you that there's so much good stuff in there. From life sciences, graph visualizations, as I just said, DSLs, Neo4j deep dives as well, threat patterns for cybersecurity. What else do we have here? Mentorship graph of our HR folks, people folks from Cassie. Synthetic data generation, multifaceted navigation, lots of other things as well, right? So there's so much in there.
Yeah, there's lots of class.
As such, right? And this was only one track. It was only the visualization track, I think.
Exactly.
Right?
So,
so
I
just
so
there's much more. Yeah, so there should be something for everyone, and we can do a competition who stays longest together with me. So we can have some prizes for that. Do at least 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right. But you really have to watch, right? So we'll ask you questions about the sessions. Not just switch it on.
Are you still here? You just send pings.
Exactly, you get regular pings like an engine driver on a train. Right? So you get pinged every 10 minutes or so if you're still there. Cool. Yeah, so this was fun. I hope this was interesting for you.
There were 2 more questions. I think we should, if we do them quickly, I think that shouldn't take too long. And I think, Anshu, one question from you there on what if one forgets to download the password file. I think that was a new feature. I think back in the day. You
can't forget it anymore.
Exactly, you cannot forget it anymore.
Nowadays, you can't forget it anymore, because the only button that you can press is download and continue, basically. And if you really forget to your password, then you can create a support ticket here in the support, and then they can reset your password. Or if it's an empty AuraDB free database, you can just destroy it and create a new one if you don't have data in there. But in general, you should always now get the file to download your password as such. Exactly. But you can also ask the support team to recreate it. Cool. And the other question, Alex?
The other question was from Anthony. How much is the enterprise edition? So Aura uses Enterprise Edition on all tiers, so you get, even on free, you get the Enterprise Edition. And there is a
but there's also pricing pages here, so where you can see free, professional, and then if you create an instance in Aura, actually it shows you also. So for instance, if I create a new instance here, a professional instance, you can pick your cloud provider, and then you also see what it costs basically for the different sizes, and you can scale up and down depending on your needs as well, right? So that's something where you see directly how much is it basically as such.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And you can also pause them and resume them as well, right? So if you don't need the instance for some time, you can also pause them and then resume them later, for instance, as well.
You have a bit more choice there, but obviously no longer free. But yeah, you can do as you like and do that there.
Exactly.
And if you have other needs, other ways, self-managed, exactly, then you can obviously always get in touch with us via the contact us form.
Oh, and in the cloud, you can also do marketplace as well, right? So because you can also do marketplace deployments where you can use your own cloud credits basically for Aura on all the cloud providers as well. So that's also a possibility.
Yeah, lots of ways to do it. Yeah, and Anju had an empty database, so yeah, best way gets you quickest to a new fresh AuraDB instance. Just delete the one you have, trash it, and then you can create a new one.
Yeah, like here, the one that I created before, I can just press delete and type in notes, and then pretty quick. Right. Cool, super. So we covered a lot of ground. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Alex.
One more question came just in from Issa. Maybe let's have a quick thing. I have a question. It might be out of topic. So we see building a model for text to cipher, but I need more range of data structure example. Where to get that? That might be a little bit out of range. I don't know.
Building a text to cipher model, Issa ping me at michael@neo4j.com, and then I can point you to some people at Neo4j who do something similar, and perhaps you can exchange some ideas as well.
All right. That was done quick and easy. Perfect. Well, yes, I think with that we are at an end. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your questions. Obviously, thank you, Michael, for doing this whirlwind tour across the notes agenda.
Always. Always whirlwind.
Always,
yes,
true.
and don't forget, notes is at neo4j.com/notes, and then it gets you to this notes page where you have all the information and can sign up as well. So please don't forget. And yeah, Thursday next week, 26th of October, we'll have amazing talks, amazing speakers, and great content. And join us with thousands of other attendees at Notes. Can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, so to see you there. If you want more content between now and then, you have this Thursday afternoon, we have a Neo4j Live on Kubernetes deployment. So Jennifer from Synix is talking about how to deploy a Neo4j on Kubernetes, how to migrate from version 4 to version 5, and how to use Neo-Dash on a Kubernetes deployed Neo4j instance. So lots of interesting bits and pieces. And that's happening on, exactly there it is, on the 19th of October, 5 p.m. Central European time, so early afternoon for most of us here in Europe, and
morning.
Yeah,
morning for the US.
And morning for the US, exactly. So that should be it. Isa, it's Michael at neo4j.com. Very easy. And with that, I think we're good. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, everybody. And see you on Thursday, 26th of October.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.